September 1730, Istanbul, a city carved between two continents, 4 million people, bazaars, mosques, palaces. But something had shifted. For 12 years, the empire called it the Tulip Era: peace, art, European fashion, fountains lit by candlelight. The Sultan's gardens glowed at night. Thousands of tulips, poets beneath silk pavilions, turtles with candles on their backs. The elite built mansions on the Bosphorus, French architecture, imported luxury goods. But the city below watched. The Treaty of Passarowitz ended the wars in 1718. For the first time in centuries, the Ottoman Empire stopped expanding. No conquest, no plunder, no glory. Instead, taxes. War with Persia drained the treasury. Bread prices doubled. Shops closed at noon. The Grand Vizier Ibrahim Pasha wore silk robes. The Janissaries wore old wool coats, some patched, some torn. At the covered market, artisans talked quietly. Bakers, smiths, tanners, men who once trusted the Sultan. Patrona Halil worked at a bathhouse in Galata, Albania. Former sailor, former Janissary. He listened. He heard the same complaints everywhere: taxes, inflation, defeat in Persia, palaces while the people starved. Halil spent evenings at taverns with other Janissaries. Most were Albanian like him. They spoke in low voices about what the empire had become. By summer 1730, the talk had turned to action. The signal came on September 28. Halil and a small group gathered at the Hippodrome, a square in the heart of Istanbul. Ancient, open, visible. Word spread. Artisans left their shops. Janissaries joined. Within hours, the crowd reached 4,000. They marched to the palace gates, iron, 10 feet tall. Guards in white uniforms stood watch. The crowd demanded Ibrahim Pasha. They wanted the Grand Vizier handed over. They wanted the taxes dropped. They wanted the Sultan to listen. Sultan Ahmed III watched from inside Topkapi. He sent messengers. He offered concessions. The crowd did not move. Friday prayer was not performed that day. The call to prayer was not recited. The city held its breath. Halil's followers cut the water supply to the palace. Food deliveries stopped. The Sultan was isolated in his own capital. Shops in the covered market closed. One by one, the shutters came down. The bazaar went silent. Groups broke off from the main crowd. They went to the Bosphorus, to the mansions of the elite. Ibrahim Pasha's house was the first. Marble fountain in the courtyard. European paintings on the walls. Bags of gold in the treasury room. The mansion was emptied. Some rebels carried away furniture. Others just smashed the windows. Next came the house of the finance minister at Shehzadebasha. Patrona Halil walked in. He asked the minister if he had another house. The minister said yes. Halil asked why then he needed this one. The minister left with nothing. Halil did not move in. He gave the house to a Janissary officer. His point was made. By nightfall, smoke rose from the Bosphorus estates. Not all were looted. Some were burned. October 2, 4 days after the rebellion began. Ahmed III stood at a window in Topkapi. Below the palace gates, the crowd had not left. 12,000 Janissaries now. The streets filled with their voices. The Sultan sent word. Ibrahim Pasha and his 2 sons-in-law would be handed over. The 3 men were brought to the palace courtyard. No trial. The executioner's blade fell 3 times. The bodies were dragged through the streets behind a carriage. The crowd followed, silent at first, then cheering, but it was not enough. The rebels sent a new demand. The Sultan himself must step down. Ahmed III looked at his advisors. No one spoke. He had ruled for 27 years, built gardens, hosted poets, imported tulips from Holland. Now his own Janissaries wanted him gone. He signed the abdication that evening. His nephew Mahmud became Sultan. Ahmed was promised safety for himself and his children. The Tulip Era ended where it began. In a palace surrounded by tulips no one would see again. For weeks, Istanbul was in Patrona Halil's hands. He appointed officials. He dismissed others. He walked through the city in his old Janissary uniform, bare-legged, no ceremony. A Greek butcher named Janissary had loaned him money during the rebellion. Halil made him governor of Moldavia. Janissary never took the post, but the gesture was clear. Power belonged to the street now. The mansions on the Bosphorus stood empty, some destroyed, some occupied by rebels. The fountains ran dry. The tulip gardens grew wild. Mahmud I watched. The new sultan knew he ruled only because Halil allowed it. November 25, 8 weeks after the rebellion, Mahmud summoned Patrona Halil to Topkapi, an honor, a promotion, an official title. Halil entered the palace. The sultan's guards were waiting. He was seized. No trial. The executioner's blade fell. 7,000 of his followers were hunted down. The Janissaries who had turned on the sultan now turned on each other. The Khan of Crimea sent troops to restore order. The streets of Istanbul returned to silence. But something had changed. The first printing press was shut down. The European embassies ended. The reforms stopped. For the rest of the century, Ottoman sultans remembered 1730. They remembered what happened when elites forgot the city below. The Tulip Era became a story, a warning. 12 years of peace and culture erased in 4 days of fury. Today, the fountain of Ahmed III still stands in Istanbul. Built in 1728, ornate, beautiful, European-influenced. Tourists photograph it. Few know what it cost. The tulips are gone.